Hola Madridistas, another eventful night, typical weather in Madrid, soaking wet, players, fighting to catch their bearings, slipping and sliding. But in the end, like the commentator said, like the folklore goes, we find a way. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty for large parts. I think we took Sevilla a little too lightly. Um, they clearly looked like they were on path to their resurgence. And boy, oh boy, Fede with another banger, 16 games unbeaten, and hopefully Carlo doesn't retire anymore. Welcome back again. Hola, Madridistas. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. Before we dive into the thick of things, please welcome our esteemed panel. It is just me and Doris tonight. Doris, how are you feeling after another statement victory in La
Uh,
Liga?
couldn't feel better. We are at 31 out of 33 points, so nothing to complain about. Definitely today.
The mood after the Osasuna draw wasn't great. I was pissed, and I remember most of us who were here didn't feel exactly content and happy with the draw. And Barcelona were actually right behind us, but the mood has definitely shifted now, isn't it?
Definitely. That game slowed us down a bit, but the team knows what they're here to do, and that's win.
Mm.
And I feel it maybe have it maybe has slowed us down, but it definitely showed us things that we need to improve on, and the team looks good. There are of course things that we've seen in today's game that maybe we lacked a bit, but that's maybe because of the absence of Karim, but mostly after the draw, the next four games were wins, so nothing to complain about.
The actual question is, when was the last time you saw Los Blancos play a perfect game? In my memory, I can't. We never have perfect games. No,
Never,
we don't.
yeah. Maybe perfect halves, but not
Yeah,
perfect
not a
game.
full game. No. But do you think that matters? Like what some people contest our style of play, you know, it is not as pleasing on the eye and stuff. Like, do you think anybody in our fan base or people inside the dressing room even pay heed to such remarks?
No, I think it's Real Madrid. They know what they need to do, and if we listen to what other people thought of our play style, we wouldn't be here. And that's the thing. This team knows what to do, and maybe maybe if you ask me for the perfect half, like El Clasico, like we
Yeah.
really showed class, and if we can keep going like this, even if it's one perfect half, and just survive the other, I'll take it if we win. And I feel like the team has the same mentality. you, you
Mhm.
know don't strain yourselves. Even Ancelotti is showing them to slow down. Don't be so fast at the end. If you saw, he was talking to Vinny to slow down the game and such at around like 85th minute. So yeah, the team knows what to do, and as we talked, they start strong each half and finish strong each half, and whatever happens in the middle is usually
Filler,
Fede
like
Valverde.
it isn't exactly filler, but we'll get into it. Like we'll dedicate a good 5-10 minutes to
Yeah.
Fede Valverde. He fully deserves it. But so what you said was interesting. Like how Carlo basically advises the team to sporadically be active in bursts during the game. Initially, last year, I used to think it was something that was a causation of design. Basically, our midfield and older heads clearly lacking the athleticism, which made Carlo be like, you know what, you got to be a bit more conservative and smart to actually navigate through games. But now it is more and more looking like a part of this new age Real Madrid, uh, Real Madrid's identity, basically, and their terrific game management skills. Do you think?
Yes, of course, but if we compare it to last season and
Mm.
our aging midfield, as everyone calls it was true that like you cannot expect athleticism from all of them being over 30 years old, Kase, Tony, and Luca. Um, so if you compare it to last season, I don't think it's fair because our attack remained the same, and it was never a problem of our attack. It was always our midfield being slow and whatever they call it. So
I used to
long
call it
time,
too. So I think the dig is basically aimed at me as well. I used to call them slow. I thought they were
no,
slow.
no, I'm mostly mentioning how they call Cruz slow, which is true, but it's also a way of playing. You don't have to be the
You gotta actually, you know what, Doris? He was slow. He was always slow. He's deceptively fast, right?
last
Like he's not.
season. He wasn't that great. Let's be real, Tony.
Yeah, it was basically down to how well he kind of managed his defensive work rates. This season, he is a completely different animal in how, in terms of closing of passing lanes, tracking back, winning back the ball like very quickly. Last season, he never used to put in shifts like this. I don't think. No.
Yes, I agree. But this season we have Dramani, and Cruz is
Yeah.
obviously taken a role, sitting back a bit
Mm,
with
mm,
Dramani defending with him, where
mm,
you would expect that we wouldn't have to defend a lot with that, but we do somehow.
mm.
But that's a different topic. But what we lacked in athleticism, we finally have it now. So I don't think it's a fair
Yeah.
comparison to.
Chouameni is a real force of nature. I can
And
guarantee you.
Kamavinga, if you saw today when Chouameni got subbed off at like uh, around 60th minute,
Mm.
he was pretty angry, but probably angry with himself. And
Because he couldn't commit to tackles as much, like
yeah,
since he was on a yellow card. Like after the yellow card, I don't think Chouameni would have
that
been.
yellow was scary. That could have been
Yeah,
a red,
yeah.
very,
A proper judo
very
maneuver,
close.
like I mentioned in the chat. Like it wasn't an attempt to win the ball; it was an attempt to take the man down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before we kind of get into breaking down how our guys performed, were you surprised by what Sampaoli set out against us, especially Isco as the kind of the false nine, Jesus Navas basically starting out at right wing, etc.
But Jorge is one of my favorite characters in football, and
Do you like his anime face? Is that
I
what
love
what
him.
you?
I love him. Uh, but I don't
Fair
know.
point.
I even asked you for your opinion for his setup today because I couldn't really explain what he was trying to do. I mean,
Mm.
you shared your opinion, but I don't know. Like, it is really difficult to know what
Tell the
what
audience
is
what my
Jorge's
opinion
name.
was.
Hmm?
No, tell the audience what my opinion was as well, because they have no context.
Uh, you said that they were trying to bring Rafa Mir, right?
Yeah.
To
Basically, trying to catch us cold when our defenders are kind of tired and
Yeah, and
basically
he
come cold.
caused Madrid, a Madrid goal today, right?
Mm,
I don't
mm,
remember which one. I think the 2-1 goal. It was
mm.
his fault because he lost the ball or something. So yeah, right as he came on.
Yeah, the tactical plan, like I couldn't actually wrap my head around it as well. But to be fair, when I mentioned that in the chat, people were going like, you know what, they're going to be killed. I think it was Javier who mentioned it, but in stark contrast to it, like they gave it a good fight. Especially in the first half. After we scored the goal, we kind of fell off, and it was all Sevilla for a bit. And they had some brilliant phases of possession, some neat interchanges. Especially Montiel and Navas on the right were giving us a lot of problems. Oliver Torres on the left as well. Isco didn't have a bad game at all. I think he tried to do his best. Obviously, if you give him the ball, he's gonna move it slow. He's not a good transition player by any means whatsoever. But um, all in all, I think Sevilla gave it a good fight, and uh, in my opinion, uh, the people I think took it a little too lightly. In the dressing room, that Sevilla basically looks like a shadow of themselves. We also got to actually realize that they lost Kunde and Diego Carlos. Kunde, most importantly, like he's one of the best defenders in Europe, and like replacing him is never an easy task. And yeah, like I feel like they had a couple of very good performances in there. Like Godelj was insane. I thought like at moments he reminded me of Ramos and his kind of passive aggressiveness with like he kind of tried to impose himself, and obviously it was Rodrigo. If it was Benzema, it was a different case. He was faced up against Rodrigo and Vinny. He would definitely come on top over a physical tussle. It's understandable, but he had a very good game. I felt like, but yeah, Sevilla underestimated us like most teams. They thought they could basically uh, get out with the draw. But destiny and fate again favored us. The force, which I always believe, is always with us, came in clutch again. Starting with the keeper, Doris Thibaut on his game back. Yeah, very good scenes, especially before kickoff. Cassius and Thibaut basically like Cassius basically presenting him with the Yashin trophy and stuff. Very good gesture. Zizou, Benzema, and Modric with the Ballon d'Or. Nice scenes. But yeah, like talk to me about Thibaut, and do you think he could have done better on the goal?
Um, well, all in all, he didn't have too much to do this game.
Mm,
The shots that Sevilla had weren't on goal,
mm.
so that was a positive for him for his first game back. But maybe for the goal, we can say he could have done better. Again, I'm saying it's easy to say that from the couch, and if we had to
Come on,
grade
man, put some respect on the couch, people, bro. It's about
it, yeah, if we had to grade it, it wasn't incredible, but it was okay. It's nothing
that.
special. It was the the goal wasn't his fault. It was the defense. So he did well. He misplaced one pass that could have been better. I think it was to Mendy, like a long ball, but we pass, we move.
He looked sharper than I expected, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
especially since he was
But it
out for
was
that. I
his
think,
first game with with the Yashin and all that. It was a big game for him,
yeah,
Yeah,
like
and something.
see, this is a little bit off the topic, but I would like to bring it up with you. So
Mm.
I was reading all this quotes by him, especially I think he was speaking to Marca, and he was saying that basically, like we have heard it plenty of times, basically where he says that nobody values goalkeepers. Um, all the attention and the awards goes to the forwards, blah blah blah. And he made similar remarks, I think, more stronger remarks yesterday. Did you happen to read it, Doris?
Yes, yesterday. What did he
Yesterday
say?
or day before?
I
He
did,
basically said that yeah, like a goalkeeper can never win major honors.
oh,
They never,
I thought
yeah.
he said that like after the ceremony or something. But yeah,
I
I
know.
I think I know what you're talking about, and even though I agree with him, most people were mostly talking about how it's not the time and place,
No, no.
to talk about that kind of stuff, and it's not his first time mentioning that. If you remember after the Champions League, when he did say something like how people in England are talking about everyone else but him and stuff like that, and people remember that and remember him for talking a lot about that,
Mm,
so you know I agree with him. I think he should have been, more up on the list, but it doesn't matter. There's no way a goalkeeper wins anymore. So
yeah, friendly reminder that there are ongoing polls in the live stream. People, if you actually are tuning in live, please go ahead and vote. Um, and also, Ashik B says that customary one goal given up, and then Fede goes and shows Elon Musk how to launch a rocket to Mars. Well, yeah, you couldn't have put it better. It is better than a rocket launch for sure. Fede's shots are basically you know sweeter than that for sure. But yeah, Thibaut, like in my opinion, he shouldn't be making such comments, man. Honestly, like you should make people talk about you rather than you telling them, you know what, you guys should be speaking about me more. That is not the way.
I
That
agree.
is
Yeah.
the yeah,
Well
that is the
said.
wrong
Well said.
tactic.
Well
That
said.
is the wrong tactic because your best mate is basically winning the Ballon d'Or, right? Like he's winning the top honor. So if you come out and say like it wouldn't be in bad intention, I don't think even in Thibaut's head it is a negative light. But if you come to the media and say stuff like the stuff he basically says, people would think that there is no cordial relationship between Thibaut and Benzema, especially on a press level at least.
Mm.
We don't need that kind of drama, man. Honestly, Thibaut, we know you're the best. You are the best. Everybody knows you are the best. I don't think any keeper in Europe can, be put above you at the moment. But it is what it is. I just have to speak on it.
I
Um,
actually think it's a good thing that Ballon d'Or. It's really difficult for goalkeepers to win because I think the Yashin Trophy should be regarded just as big and just as a grand award you can win in your career as a goalkeeper. There's nothing to be ashamed about that, and I feel sad that he feels that way because he should be honored and happy for his award because it's just the way it is, and we know that it's difficult for defenders to win, for midfielders to win, let
mm.
alone goalkeepers. So I feel like
Well, it is
it
for a
was a
reason.
useless comment at a pointless time.
Mm. It is for a reason why people say putting the goal in the back of the net is basically the toughest job in the game. Obviously, forwards will be favored for major honors. It is the it is the course of the script. Like, I don't think there are definite attempts to kind of rectify it. That's why there is a a Yashin Trophy and stuff like that. But come on, man, come on, not the time. But
Mm.
Ashik B says that we have a tendency to maintain focus against weaker teams and give up a goal. Very true, very true. We score a goal, and take our foot off the gas, which is a recurring theme. And I'm just being wishful at this point, that we can actually kind of completely negate that part of the game. But I don't see it happening. I think we gotta be conceding for us to go up that extra gear and kind of kill off a game. We sit on silly one goal leads and kind of hope and pray that'll be enough. That is not the way. That is not the way to go around things. But yeah, that should stop. Overall, they had control of the game. Otherwise, Vinny should have scored the chance. Keep it simple. Yeah, this is why I say that, contrary to Vinny, Rodrigo does the simple stuff right. Vinny at times has, like, remember what I told you, Doris. Vinny has stuff that is pre-planned in his head before he attempts it. That's what I feel like when I'm watching him play. Whereas Rodrigo, it's all about instinct. He decides right there in that nanosecond he gets to think. Vinicius overcomplicates it by basically, like thinking about it too much. I feel like, do you think there is some substance to that sentiment?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Of course,
Mm,
we talked about that in a chat,
mm,
uh, especially for diving. That's in we talked about that in the context of Rodrigo winning a yellow,
mm,
because that is uh, an occurring thing where Vinicius sometimes, dives and doesn't win a yellow when he could have if he had a better reaction. Where you
mm,
have Rodrigo, where he seems to win a yellow almost every time he's fouled, or at least be fouled every time someone attempts it. And
mm,
that's that's a huge positive for Rodrigo because it's so important. But at one point, by the end, it should have been a free kick right in front of their box. Uh, Ro- Rodrigo got fouled. It wasn't a strong foul, but it was a foul because he was studs up with straight into him. If
mm.
that's the same play, and yeah, if it was Vinny, it definitely wouldn't be called, but this was given an advantage or whatever.
So we can all agree that he has been getting a bad reputation as of late, right? It
Yeah.
is concerning. It is not a good look. It is not a good look. But Tess Das Aliba is saying that let's not forget Asensio's pass that led to the second goal. Yeah, brilliant stuff. The World Cup around the corner has put a chip on the shoulder. I've no idea what is behind this sudden uptick in his overall body language. It feels refreshing. Um, yeah, let's get to one more comment before we kind of move on. Ashik B says that counter attack was ruthless. Asensio's a natural midfielder. That's where he started his career. Playing him on the wing has always stifled him and limited his impact. Yeah, he worked his traits basically. Is more suited to an inside role rather than out wide. Because earlier he could do a job out wide because he had a bit more pace about him. But yeah, I completely agree. He is better suited. But I don't think he can work in a midfield three or in a system in our system of a midfield three. I don't think Asensio can excel. I don't think he has the consistency, to replace either Cruz or Modric or Chouameni, even against weaker opposition. Although he scored a hat trick against Mallorca, and that was it last season. We thought he would have a renaissance, but it didn't happen. It didn't happen.
That comment about Barca really killed the people's opinions about Asensio. People that had bad thoughts about Asensio
Mm.
and his place in the team. I think that sealed
Yeah,
the
that was the
the
final
the
nail in the
deal for
coffin,
the
basically.
yeah, for the people that hated him already.
Yeah.
I love look.
Mm.
I love Asensio. He's always
Same
been
here. Same,
one
same
of
here.
my favorite players, and I just don't see another spot in the team for him in except a substitute, and it
Mm.
works so well for him. But I know that as a player, that's not what you want from your career. But he works so well as a substitute because you can expect a banger from him, or at least he does something. There are
Mm.
there's a lot of times where he comes, this close, and I'm always like, Marco, come on, why every time? It's usually from a cross where he like every time he's this close, and he never
Mm.
scores those. But you can expect that he knows that he doesn't have much time when he plays, and when he plays you can see that he's really trying. If you compare it to someone else in the team, you know I feel like he's a better player than Eden in this team even
Of
now,
course, of
definitely.
course.
And I don't want to hear anyone argue about that. And I
I
f-
don't
and
think.
I find it insane that Eden has game time and Marco doesn't.
Mm. That's the thing. One is a 4 million signing, and another is a 100 million signing. It is basically Real Madrid trying to milk something out of Eden Hazard, but I think at this point,
There's no
there's
point in that.
there's no point.
Money and your value doesn't mean you're gonna play well on the pitch or that you work in this team. It really
Mm.
doesn't.
Well,
Because
it's a very, very depressing thing to talk about, honestly. It
Hazard
just,
has everything that you would expect from a Madrid player,
yeah.
except he doesn't. You know,
Mm. Mm.
he has everything, but he
That's the funny
doesn't.
bit. That's the funny bit. Like, you basically, stated the perfect explanation. He has all the traits,
Yeah,
all the all the minerals, all the fine print to excel here. But I don't think he has the right attitude. That's what I feel. But people say when I say he doesn't have the right attitude, you're being a fucking sadist. Like
mm,
you're lacking empathy. Come on, man. Like other people have had ACL injuries. They have still continued to perform at an average level. All I'm asking Hazard for is a fucking 6.5 out of 10. At this point. But moving on
yeah.
from Thibaut, we were stuck on Thibaut for like 15 minutes. But like moving on to Mendy at left back. How do you think Mendy fared tonight, Doris?
Usually, Mendy is good in the defense and bad in the offense, but today I felt it was the opposite. He was really good in the offense and was a real threat in the offense, but I think he was, you know, one of the culprits in the defense that didn't have a good game today, uh, defense wise, of course.
Mm, right.
That that goal came from his side again, and it wasn't the only time where he was caught looking somewhere else when the ball shot right past him. But it wasn't the best game. It wasn't the
You mean for the goal? You mean for the goal?
yeah
Mm. Yeah, for the goal, I think the entire backline is at fault.
yeah everyone.
Although you clearly told me that you feel like Alaba had the major brunt of the blame to bear, but yeah, Mendy, in my opinion, not one of his finest games. I don't think anybody had a very fine game up until the 80th minute when when the subs kind of combined to see this result out. But yeah, um, Mendy, average performance, average performance. Alaba, Doris.
Alaba again, one of the one of them in the defense that wasn't amazing, but we move. it wasn't an amazing game for any player in the team. I would say today every player had their a bit of like their quirks exposed today,
Mm,
but
yeah,
in the end, the team won, which is important. But Alaba, he
yeah,
scored 2 goals this season, and that has
yeah.
been amazing from him. And he had like a few really good games defense wise, but
Mm,
uh, he's been trying really hard to go, you know, like be more offensive this season, and it's leaving the team exposed sometimes because he's caught lacking sometimes, like
mm,
today. And I said like there was no point in him trying to go around the player on his right side when the line is being held much further than you are. And
mm,
that goal is not directly his fault, but for the onside call, it is his fault. That was very unprofessional from him. It
mm.
was a big mistake from him.
Well, K11 man says that spot on with Mendy in Mursoff is a regular day to day. Well, people are kind of agreeing with your take, Doris. Also, M is saying that I really wanted to believe Hazard when he said this would be his year. Well, it used to be. It is very. It keenly reminds me of Liverpool's motto, until they won their first ever fucking Premier League a couple of years ago. They used to say, "Next year is our year." It's basically the same propaganda, but Liverpool used to be tied with something down the Merseyside. But for Hazard, it's a direct partnership with maybe McDonald's or Burger King. At this point, that's the only difference. It's the same
it,
guarantee.
it's basically a meme now.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, Alaba, I share the same sentiment. Some of the passes he was playing, especially in our own half, was insane. I mean,
Mm.
for such a seasoned veteran like Alaba, some of the decision making is borderline criminal. I don't see much of it during high profile games. He has a knack of basically uh, like going up like quite a few levels, especially in crunch fixtures. So I'm gonna excuse him for this. Like I said, like bar maybe a couple of players, everybody was like bang average tonight, apart from the sub.
Yeah, but
But
I don't
mm,
think he went in with a mentality that this was a small fixture.
no, no, no,
Everyone
no,
knows
no,
that
no, no.
this is.
No, I don't think that is the case. No, I never
Mm.
said that's the case. But I genuinely have a feeling that looking at how Sevilla was kind of struggling, they would have thought this would have been an easier game on paper than
Yeah,
how it.
we talked
That's
about it. I think we all agree that last time that Militao and Rodrigo, Rodrigo, Rudiger should be starting in the defense, and I think we were right about that one. But
mm,
we move. He's still a
we-
good player. It was just a brain fart, I guess, of a
yeah.
game
Yeah.
for him.
It happens. It has to be like it is. See, in this world, there are so many things that are lopsided that makes our society unstable. I think this is basically powers balancing it out. Like we need to have a couple of calamitous errors to basically have the desire and the fire inside our bellies to basically go and score more and kill the game off. Like if we hadn't
Mm.
conceded that goal, imagine we didn't concede that goal until the 85th minute or the 90th minute. It's game over. It's game over. Let's be realistic, right? So this is I think a good problem to have at this point. I believe. I'm just trying to be optimistic, but yeah, it is
Yeah.
what it is. Um, Militao, I thought he had a much better game than Alaba. Um, was aggressive. Was trying to progress the ball much more. Especially because I felt like Carvajal was struggling on the right side to kind of move up the play. Militao looked fine, man. Apart from a few rash decisions, I think he was much better than Alaba. Doris, what do you think?
Um, I agree. It wasn't a great game from him, let's be real,
Yeah.
but it was still in comparison better than Alaba.
Mm.
But the standards weren't that high today, so I wouldn't compare it to the usual standards of this team. And
Mm.
he was good in the offense. A few times we could see him switching up with Carvajal, and I like that because I felt like Militao was trying to send that ball to Vinny again. You could see it. Like I feel like the two of them really tried to recreate that goal from last season. Don't you agree?
Who?
Militao and Vinicius.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously they have this tendency. It's anything that involves Vinny. There is a premeditation about their intention. So I can only say that probably there is a very good chance they wanted to do it.
Mm.
Vinicius himself wanted to recreate the solo banger from last season. Remember, we've talked about it. So
Yeah,
could
a
be,
few times
could be,
he tried it during the game,
yeah. Um,
but it got blocked.
yeah, not the best game. I mean, like we said, it wasn't a vintage Real Madrid performance by any stretch of the imagination. But Carvajal, Doris,
Mm.
he seems to have these days when he isn't up to his game. Then we feel like, oh, we should have replaced. There'll be people saying that he should have been replaced years ago, but then he pops up with a masterclass, next week or sometime in midweek. It is a constant cycle with Carvajal. Like, do you think it is just age?
Yeah. Uh, Today he made a mistake and he turned, and you could really see like all the gray hair, and I felt like it really summed up his game today. Even though love him, and he either has like really good games or he's meh like today,
Mm.
because uh, in certain games he's not as amazing, but then you see him the other game practically being the best right back in the world. So it's difficult to analyze Dani Carvajal because you can blame a lot of things, but I feel like it's just his focus. Sometimes he's feeling it, and sometimes he's just not. And I feel like in the entire defense today, I think he was really good, and he covered for Militao, and Militao covered for him, which was really good when Militao was trying to be more offensive.
Yeah, can we extend this? Sorry, so
Good.
basically, Yadu was telling me the call is going to end in 10 minutes. And I was
Yeah,
like, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about this beforehand. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We'll kind of make it quick. So, yeah, Carvajal didn't have his vintage, performance. But moving on to the midfield, many people are saying that Modric was the pick of the bunch at the first half. Do you agree? Especially with his goal.
yeah, he was so close to scoring again, and maybe
Mm,
even again. But
mm,
uh, if he did score, that would have been insane. And for the goal that he did score, the goal was really good. Like that was one of the best goals this season. The entire team was part of it, and you
mm,
have to love those goals when players are not selfish and they pass. Especially for the goal with Lucas Vasquez. It was basically the same thing, passing the
mm.
ball.
Mm.
given the honors, and it was his 450th game for Madrid, which is we have to give props for
Honestly,
that.
honestly.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
scoring on your 450th game, historical.
it got to show. It got to show. Like I still remember. Yadu just said he's gonna take care about the time limited stuff, so we are good. We can
I can see
relax.
the limits, so don't worry.
Oh, okay, okay. So is it still taken? Has it been changed?
Yeah, 7 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay. So he said he's working on it. So yeah, yeah. Talking about Modric, man, I still remember, watching him play at Spurs. I was only like 15, 14 years old when I was actually watching it, and I used to think, man, this guy doesn't belong to a team like Spurs, And
Mm.
I was so hyped for his introduction with us that like I honestly didn't think he would have like such a glorious career with us, especially the way he started it, and like how he evolved into this talismanic figure, a midfielder to be being a talisman, especially in a Real Madrid team. Like if it was some other team, like yeah, it makes more sense. But this guy, he keeps on going, week in week out, churning out master classes. But like I mentioned in the chat, like he was running out of steam quickly. You could see that, like he probably needs a bit more rest than what Carlo decides for. But it is what it is. So I had a few comments about Modric. M was saying that could talk about Luca for hours. Absolute pleasure to watch. Um, Ashik B says no one is talking about Luca, the divine footballer and gift from football gods. That keeps on giving at 37. Well, um, can't disagree with anything. To be honest, Modric, when he's on it, you can see that he plays on a different plateau to your normal midfielders. But one more comment before we move on. K11 man says that. Although I agree with the criticism against Hazard, I'm glad that he's at least not a negative presence in the locker room or giving too many shady interviews. I know who this dig is at. It is at Gareth Bale. I'm sorry, my friend, but Gareth Bale has done so much more for this club that at this point I don't even care about all the drama surrounding him. To be honest, like if Hazard did even a quarter of what Bale did, yeah, it would stand as a good argument. But if you only balled out against, was it Alcoyano in the Copa del Rey? Come on, come on. But yeah, no one is that's Aliba or walking away before the game finishes. Oh, is he talking about that's Aliba is talking about I think Cristiano. I was
Yeah.
thinking about talking about it yesterday on the preview. Boris, like quick brief thought on the Cristiano controversy. Do you think it is acceptable for someone of his stature to be doing something like that, especially when so many young guys look up to you?
I don't know. It's really difficult to say because it's him. It's not anyone. It's not. It is CR7. It's a dude that scored 700 club goals,
Mm,
and
yeah.
it's definitely for a reason that is feeling this way. And whatever anyone says, we don't know anything. Whatever any reporter says that he's feeling this way, that he wants to do this, these clubs called la 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 la. We don't know anything, and no one knows anything but him and his family. And
Mm,
people always, hated him. It was a common thing in the footballing community, so
mm,
that never changed. And he just sparked another fire with his attitude, which is in some part is actually he's right about some things. There was
mm,
no point in bringing him if it's just for commercial use. Because
Yeah.
if you're not gonna use him, why bring him? He's almost hitting 40s. He has every right to be angry with the team because he didn't perform bad last season. He played with a team that played bad, and maybe he
Yeah.
didn't elevate that team to a better level. But you cannot
Mm,
blame him that he is, like the worst player or whatever. He's definitely
mm,
not, and
mm,
I just feel sad for him. I just wish that he was in a different club and he didn't have to, endure all of this. And maybe his attitude isn't the greatest, and he definitely shouldn't have walked out like that because that's definitely on purpose and given a statement with your walking out. In the last
mm,
5 minutes, it was unnecessary because you know what that means for you.
mm,
But I agree with him on most things, and I
mm,
don't agree that it's bad from him to ask for a transfer. Because
mm,
if you, as fans of United, they all love CR7 and history they have with him, but it
mm,
was so easy for them to turn their back on him. When he came
mm,
to that club, there was already a large split in supporters in United about him, and
mm,
anything he did from the start of his another U- United spell, anything he did, people criticized, you know, and it wasn't fair on him from the start. But it is CR7. He's used to critics and all that. But he is 38 almost, and for the last, like 2-3 years that he has in him, I think it's right for him to ask for more minutes. And um I wouldn't be surprised if it's even in his contract or whatever.
yeah, but that's what some people ask out of pure frustration. Like someone who is that rich, like maybe if it is so bad, like why can't you basically buy out your own contract? As what I hear people asking. And it is Cristiano who is losing time. It is not United. Manchester United will remain as a club even after Cristiano is gone. So it is Cristiano's biological clock, which is ticking at the moment, and he needs every minute he gets on the pitch. And the very fact that at the age of 37 he skipped out on pre-season, like it is having a very huge effect on his fitness. Like he's not as sharp as he normally is, and I hope it gets resolved ASAP, and both parties are at peace. This is not good to see. I don't wish United the best. I would love to see them seat, but Cristiano, man, like he's a king among us. So I just hope it gets better for him. But yeah, M says that sad to see what's happening with CR7 at United. He deserves a better end to his career. Definitely, definitely. It's partly also on him. He should have been willing to kind of lower his wages at this point. At this point in his career, I don't understand what does money mean to him. Honestly, I don't even make um, maybe a 200 fractions of what he earns, but I don't care about money. I don't know how he cares about money, at this stage of his career. It's nonsense.
Ego, I guess. You put
It is ego. Mm,
value on your name with
mm,
your
mm,
value on the market. And I mean, I don't blame him, but I mean, I understand him, but I blame him for it because you should be more professional about it. And we all know how much he cares about his legacy, and we all have our opinions on it, but he should know better.
At
He
this point, he is tarnishing his own legacy. It is
yeah, yeah,
basically,
yeah.
being lit up on fire. But yeah, it is
He
what
should
it is.
know better because I don't think there's too much shame, going to a smaller team.
Sporting was
Small.
actually more than willing to take him on, and they were playing in the Champions League and whatnot. So yeah, I don't. It is what it
Who
is.
did? Who did? Who did
Sporting
you?
Lisbon,
Oh,
Sporting
Sporting.
Lisbon. Yeah, like like completing the circle and whatnot, last dance, whatever you can call it. You could probably sign a multiple million deal with Netflix on a documentary. There's so many endless possibilities at this point. But yeah, Ashik B says that CR7 issue is a lot of media bullshit, and as much as he's at fault for the walkout, Ten Hag's communication with him is ridiculous. There are always two sides to the story. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the stuff that I've read, I have felt this that maybe Ten Hag is kind of playing the good cop, bad cop, and kind of trying to appease to the United fans who is kind of. It is not just illusion. CR7 has definitely dropped off. Cristiano has dropped off a fair bit, especially I think due to him missing preseason, and like he's trying to get them on his side and whatnot. It's crazy politics. It's with United. There's so much politics involved always. Ashik B also says that this isn't the first time CR7 was benched. Zizou benched him as well, but Zizou was open about it with him. Yeah, that was an entirely different atmosphere. We were a double winning team back of a Champions League win. It's a different kettle of fish,
Yeah.
honestly. Um, yeah. Yadu says that we gained 5 subs in this live. Yeah, people, like, thank you so much for the support. If you guys like what we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe and help us kind of push on with the algorithm. It would mean a lot. It wouldn't take much of your time, and but it would help us a fair bit to actually keep this going. And also, there was a poll that we ran: who was your man of the match? Lucas Vasquez got 6%. The goat got 6%. Fede got the maximum was 47%. Bini got 29. Luca got 18. Not bad, not bad. Someone who is 37, Luka Modric still keeps stuff taken over. But coming on to Chouameni, Doris, not his finest game, but you can clearly see that there is a very a good shout to claim that nobody misses Casemiro anymore. Casemiro, the word Casemiro is never mentioned.
Yeah, I do agree with you, and it is actually a bit sad. It is that way. He will never be forgotten. It is Casemiro. I mean,
Mm,
but Chouameni is doing bits in this team, and he looks like a. It all looks like a really really bright future for us. And Casemiro is doing his own thing in United, and is doing pretty well from what I've heard, at
he,
least in
he
the
he scored a
last
90th
couple of
minute
games.
winner today
Really?
against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge away.
I didn't
They
know
were
that.
losing until the 92nd minute, I guess, and he scored a header.
Nice, nice,
Uh,
nice.
he has
Didn't
now
know that.
started 6 games back to back
So
for
yeah,
United.
both players are doing amazing, and I don't think we would be playing bad if we had Casemiro on. If
Mm.
anything, we would, you know, it might be better, it might not, but I'm happy for him. He did his job in this club, and there's nothing I can do more than support him.
But yeah, Chouameni, like what stands out for me the best is his ability to beat the press. It's his energy at driving with the ball that makes you think that he's gonna run into a corner of no return, and he's gonna be losing possession, but somehow he manages to find a way. Um, Yeah, Germany's ball carrying and especially ball retention is very, very good. And I can clearly see traits that, completely makes me think the 80 million was worth it. But although, like I told you earlier before we came on live, Doris, that when he got the yellow card, the foul was a madness. He had no intention for it to be clean. It kind of stifled him from being fully effective afterwards. He was very passive in the press, and he always had this thought, "Oh my God! Like if I mistime a bad challenge again, I'll be sent off, and it'll be curtains." So Carlo rightfully rectified it. He took him off and bought on Kamavinga. We'll get to the subs. We'll get to the subs. But Cruz, do you think he had a very good game, Doris, tonight?
It was the usual for him. It was a good game. There was nothing bad I could say about Tony. He had like some really good r- recoveries, and a few times he had like some really nice flary touches, especially
Mm.
with Vinny. In I don't remember at what point, but he had an insane touch, which I was like, nice, Tony, nice.
Mm.
But yeah, all in all, a decent game for Tony. Probably one of the better players. He controlled his pace in this match, and we can see he is stepping back a bit. And after the 60th minute or 65th, when Dramani got subbed off, he went more in the defense. He actually
Mm.
went for uh, he became a center back for most of the
Point. Yeah, he kind of drops in
second
between
half.
the
Yeah,
defenders.
he drops
Yeah.
but like he drops a lot, a lot. Like he really
Mm.
drops. But it seems to be working, and he is a master of his own game. So if he knows what he's doing, and obviously it seems to be working
Mm.
because it allows our other players to be more offensive, especially Alaba. He seems to switch a lot with Alaba or Chouameni.
That whole
It
left
depends
side is
who
a very
goes.
good partnership. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that
Like.
that's a really good thing from him. And if anything, I have to say that it's amazing how he has adapted his game this season, because we could see last season he was trying to do things that he used to, and now he adapted his game being more defensive defensive, which allows him at certain points in the game, like sporadically, like do something really good for the team where you don't expect him to do it.
Mm.
Mostly when he tries to or not tries, but he carries the ball like over the halfway line, where he starts to run like certain Fede Valverde. And I don't know what happened this season, but he seems to be doing that almost every game, and it's nice to see that he's trying to run a bit
I
more.
just hope it isn't the thought of basically retiring at the end of the season that is kind of giving him this extra energy
Mm.
to I just hope that isn't the case. That'll be so bad if all this sudden uptick in his overall form is due to the decision that probably he has made, to kind of retire at the end of the season. I just hope that is not the case. But Cruz had a pretty good game. There were a few collectors items in the game where he misplaced a few passes, which I was thought was very unlike him. And even Modric, to be fair, wasn't very neat with the passing. I feel like the pitch and the conditions had definitely had a role to play in it. But Cruz, man, yeah, like you said, was one of the better players. He has this ability to always know what pass to play in order for someone to lay a perfect assist or a pre-assist to someone. He is the uh, perfect player of the pass that leads to passes that breaks lines, the pass before the pre-assist, basically. Yeah, man. Like when he is gone, we'll clearly have a gaping hole in our midfield. That's for sure. Quickly to some comments about Chouameni. K11 man was saying, I love how Chouameni consistently looks to play vertically. Yes. Yeah. Casemiro, in my opinion, his link up play was underrated. I'll tell you that. Casemiro was pretty good on the ball. For someone tanky like him, he was good. But Chouameni has probably it is due to his natural speed and like aggressive nature. Like he has the tendency to make line breaking runs more often than not. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And also Mel says that I thought we had been screwed without Kase, but Chouameni has stepped up big time. Yeah, like facts. Ashik says Chua's addition brings a different dimension. His ability on the ball is actually better than Casemiro. Facts again. Ashik again says that Chouameni is in the mold of a more modern DM, whereas Casemiro is a more classic CDM. Well, you could say that, but Casemiro is fairly modern as well. Um, like I don't like him being underrated. He won 5 Champions Leagues playing alone CDM. He's pretty good. Ashik also says that's usually Tony's thing. There are games where he looks anonymous, but when you synthesize the game, you see Tony was involved in everything almost. He is a quintessential puppet master. Yeah, yeah. He is the guy who pulls the strings. It's as clear as day. He is the orchestrator. But um, moving on to the wings. Now this is when things start to get a little interesting. Vinicius Junior, Doris.
Again, this season it hasn't been like the best start for him, but if it's only if we compare it to last season. But last season was incredible from him, and
Mm,
he's still doing okay. He's still doing great, I would say, for a winger. Maybe he's not scoring as much, and we talked about it. He's overthinking his moves, and that's a thing that hasn't changed for him. It has improved his thinking, in the
mm,
game. But
mm,
as you said, he does measure his things before he does them, whereas Rodrigo, as you said, is relying more on his instinct compared to Vinicius, And I feel like maybe
Let me,
defenders
let me,
and managers are starting to catch on with the things he's doing.
with
Even
Vinny, right? Yeah,
even
yeah.
even last season, by the end, he had a pretty hard one when everyone already knew what he was gonna do, And now
Mm,
he's trying to change it up, and we can see it with the Modric goal that he passed the ball, which is thank you, Vinny. And he should be doing that way more. And for Vasquez goal, he did the exact same thing, and it's exactly what we need from him. Uh,
mm,
we always ask from him to shoot and be better at shooting, but we know how good he is at assisting, at winning the ball, at running, at countering. And even if he doesn't shoot, he's
yeah.
we have players like Rodrigo, Benz, and Modric that are always in the box when the attack starts, and
Mm,
Valverde that they can all finish those balls if you can't. And Vini is the kind of player that will win you the ball. He will win you the goal, but you have to score it for him. And he does have some points where he scores a really good goal, maybe because of his speed or last season like some bangers, But all in all, he's a much better assister than a finisher. And as soon as he accepts that and elevates his game in that direction, it's better for him. If he is trying to play in this club for a long time, which I hope he does, both him and Rodrigo, to play like 10 years minimum in this club. And if he decides to play the system that way instead of trying to score, sometimes I think it's better for him, and this was the uh, this was the proof of that, when he can assist really good goals, and he was our top assister last season, right?
Yeah.
And it
Let
shows,
me
he's really good at it.
mm, let's do something, Doris. Right. So let's kind of talk about Vinny and Rodrigo together. It'll kind of open segues to like more interesting stuff. So especially on Twitter, I happened to come across a few comments that said, while like especially after that chance that Vinny kind of fluffed, like where he tried to dribble the keeper and stuff. Like people were saying, Rodrigo would finish it 9 times out of 10. I was crying that in the chat as well. Like if Rodrigo
Mm.
gets that chance, he buries it. He just puts his foot through it. He at least makes the keeper parry it for a corner, something like that. But
Yes.
uh, uh, so when I read stuff like that on Twitter, like some people were also saying that look at what happens when he's not on the pitch and how much Rodrigo got missing. Like, do you think there is substance to it? Like basically Rodrigo performing or excelling is because of Vini attracting so many defenders and attention.
um for the comment that said that Rodrigo goes missing in the games where Vinny is absent, I would just say that our team got used to play with Vinny for a while now, and they know what to expect from Vinny on that side, and they know what to expect when he's attacking, when he's running, and all that. But Rodrigo is not Vinicius. They might have a similar style and a similar way of playing, but the team does sometimes expect passes that maybe Vini would receive, but Rodrigo doesn't even think about it, And
Mm, mm, mm,
I
mm.
think that we are comparing him to Vinicius instead of himself, because
Yeah.
he isn't playing left wing; he's playing in Vinicius' spot, and it's the way it is in last two seasons, this and the last one, and
Mm,
it's just something that we've all accepted, that it's Vini's spot, and Rodrigo might have like better games that Vinicius, but he created the way we play in the attack, and that's a lot on Vinicius.
mm. So it is like proper black and white, right? Like that Vinicius is the more important player for the system, for the
Yeah,
team, and as a whole, right?
yeah.
But would you expect Vinicius to be kind of more mature, like the two assists he gave tonight, more often than not? Like Ashik B basically like nails this perfectly. He says that only Vinny can be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the same game. Started off great, and then he tried to do too much at times, such as the clear open chance he had.
Yeah.
Um, like you should expect his erratic decision making to kind of fade away, especially like since the last year was his breakthrough season. Like should we be concerned about this, or is it just like a natural coming of age of the next big superstar in our ranks?
Uh, it's important to mention how we always talk about maturity for Vinicius, but not for Rodrigo. It seems
Mm,
like Rodrigo is much older than he is, from
mm,
the way he thinks and the way he plays. Where Vinicius, he is known to be immature, and we always say, he's young, he will learn and all that. I just hope that he does it, more often, sooner, because at this point, I just hope that Ancelotti and the players in the dressing room can guide him in the right way, because it's obvious that he will be a superstar, and I think both of them will. Because if you look at our team, there are some incredible players that are really showing us this season what they can do. Maybe not Vinicius, because we've seen it last season. He's a big come up, but this season he's showing that he's still a young player and that he needs to learn. The only thing I asked is from the other players to guide him in the right way.
Mm, I completely share the sentiment. Like there will come points in the season where the stakes are even more higher, and the mistakes won't have enough time left in the clock to kind of fix it. Like people wouldn't be easy on you. More than any other fan base or any other club, in world football, we are the team that lives in the moment and only the moment. We don't depend on the future. We don't depend on our history. We take it game by game. And if you don't perform on a particular night, I don't think anybody would go easy on you. And you could see that even tonight when people were very, very vocal about his very poor decision making on very two clear cut goal scoring chances. But it is what it is. I hope he kind of fixes this side of his game. But yeah, quickly before we move on to the next comment, there's a poll going on. Yadu just mentioned it to me. How do you rate our attack today? There's a 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, and 2 stars. Yeah, make sure you vote on it, people. I hope to see at least above 3 stars because Rodrigo and Vinicius and Fede basically makes us not miss Karim Benzema. Like I've reiterated this so many times that last season or the years before the last, if Benzema has a knock, it is basically a game over. Like I don't see goals coming in from anywhere. But this season, it is a very refreshing change for sure. Um, Tas Aliba says that, what do you think about Rodrigo? Sometimes I feel like he is not aggressive enough to be our nine-ish, yeah, 9.5, like a center forward, a focal point. Like, do you think there is a valid argument for it, Doris, that he can't quite be the center
I
forward?
don't think he's not aggressive. I just think that he's small. He's
Yeah.
short and small in stature. Karim is
Mm,
not aggressive either. He presses
mm.
aggressively. He runs for the ball and all that, but you never see him shoving players and being rough and
Donnarumma would
It-
like to disagree though from last
Hmm?
season. Donnarumma would like to disagree
Oh
because
yeah,
he got shot. He got shot.
maybe, maybe, but he's not a player known to be aggressive, and
Mm,
angry on the pitch, and
mm,
a big guy, but Rodrigo is sort of like similar in the way Karim plays. The only
mm,
thing is he is smaller, so he does get through a lot of the times where Karim wouldn't, because he's bigger. Because Rodrigo is pretty small, so a lot of the times inside the box, he tries to like hit the ball to go anywhere, but the defenders, and he just scoops under them, which is a good
mm.
thing for a player. But I wouldn't want a striker to be like that. And certainly there are some short strikers in history, but I think it would be a waste to play him here, even though he can stand in for Benzema
Like
pretty
yeah,
well.
this is not his prime position. Like I can,
Mhm.
like I think we can all see that. But if worst comes to the worst, he is a very good option there. Like, do you think that way? Like I do.
Yes,
Like,
even to today, I felt really safe. Like I knew that Karim wouldn't play. It was
mm,
late news because they
mm,
reported that he's injured, that he's not, and now that he is again. So I was ready for the game no matter what, and I feel safe with the Rodrigo up front. Maybe not for like huge games, but for games like this, this wasn't a huge game where he couldn't work, and
I hope no
Sevilla
Sevilla fans are
didn't
watching.
really set up that well against us.
Mm,
So, you know,
mm. Yeah, very, very passive, very passive. Also, a very interesting stat.
Rodrigo just needs to eat more beef. The boy needs to beef up. I agree. I agree with Ashik B.
Oh, Ashik B said that, right? Yeah, yeah, I just said that.
He needs to eat more
Probably,
beef.
yeah. I hope he doesn't come across any Indians, though, especially North Indians. They wouldn't be too keen on eating beef. But
Mm.
see, this is something I noted down during the game. I completely forgot to mention it while we were discussing the defense. We actually have the fewest yellow cards and fewest fouls in La Liga. How does that make any
Mm.
sense?
Today,
How does that make-
only Chamani got a yellow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and how many Sevilla players got a yellow? I feel like everyone got a yellow at some point
Yeah,
in the
so
game.
I remember like at least
Yeah,
three people getting
at
a yellow.
least three people. Yeah, it's a good thing, and maybe we wouldn't have any if Casemiro was here, because c- we
Mm.
all know what that means.
But
But
Casemiro needs a customary yellow to feel like, oh man, like I'm in my element. I'm actually
yeah,
playing a game. Like if he doesn't get a yellow, he'll be like, nah, mate, I don't feel at home.
no
But
Pepe and Ramos. Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, it's only a good thing, if maybe we I think it reflects our defense. If your
mm,
defense is playing really bad, you're gonna get a lot of yellows because you're trying to compensate for your mistakes and
errors. Yeah.
stuff.
Mm,
But if the team plays well, everything else should work in harmony.
mm.
And
So
it happens.
you're saying that basically, even though we have brain farts from time to time, our defense is kind of settled and it knows how to navigate games better than
Yeah,
most
yeah,
teams.
yeah. It happens. Games like this happens, and it's M- Madrid. It's normal for us to concede a goal from any team. It doesn't matter who it is. But our defense looks pretty solid. Don't you agree?
Mm,
I mean, we have Mendy, Alaba, Militao, and Rudiger plus Carvajal, that's still really good. He's still really good. He has some like really bad games, but that's usually reflected from the way the team is playing. Because you in the game that he plays bad, usually the rest of the team is not the
mm.
greatest.
It is.
But
It
our
is this.
defense looks really good. I'm not really complaining a lot.
Absolutely. Like I think it is more to do with the team spirit and the morale, like how everybody backs each other so much. It is really nice to see. But yeah, Ashik says no Pepe and Ramos in caps, which is fair. Then he says last season was the first time he didn't have a red. Interesting. I didn't know that, or maybe I completely forgot about it. But interesting. Miss that smile from Cassie, of course, right before a yellow. That smile is a trademark. Casemiro is the cleanest player in the world. Yep, yep, yep. His tackling, everything is immaculate. But moving back to Vinicius and Rodrigo, there's a few tidbits I need to address. So remember, Doris, there was a chance where he was kind of tackled from behind, but like there was an option where he could have like maybe exaggerated the contact and rolled over, and VAR could have taken a look at it. I believe it would have been a pen for sure. And I read Modric was basically telling him to dive and stuff like that in the game in that instance, but he basically maintained his composure and tried to shoot. Like, what is your take on it, though? It's like, do you think that was the right decision to go through?
Sometimes when I want him to shoot, he doesn't, and when I don't want him to shoot, he does. I think that's the best way to explain it. And Modric was, I think, feeling the same way. He had his hands up like shoot, shoot, shoot,
Mm,
but it didn't happen. But it is Vinicius. It's I actually expected that to happen, and I
Mm.
didn't actually see the foul because I guess I blinked or whatever. But
Mm.
I saw Modric yelling, and the commentator was just saying how everyone was yelling, "Stop!" and shoot, and but it is what it is.
Yeah, it might be like these guys are like 37. Like even though they look like uber cool, Modric and Tony, there'll be moments where these kids would test their the weathering patience at moments. But it's expected. It's expected.
I would just
Um,
like to say to admin, I don't defend Modric with my life, and stop saying that just because I'm Croatian, it doesn't mean that I'm the biggest
who's
fan
saying
of.
that in the comments?
No, Yadov said that
Oh,
he
okay.
he actually mentioned me to say that I defend Modric with my life, which is not true. And you always say that, and I don't know why. I guess it's because I'm Croatian. I guess.
That basically explains it. Like blood is thicker than water, people.
Yeah.
It is a tale that is as old as time itself. But a few more points. Like, see, Tas Saliba makes a very very good point. I was waiting to bring this up. Like once we kind of was towards the end of the Vinny Rodrigo discussion, he said, "I would like to see Vinny rotate sometimes to the right wing, like we used to do sometimes with Bale and Ronaldo." Well, my point is Bale and Ronaldo were in a completely different points of their career that they could mix and match and adapt. But I don't think Vinny and Rodrigo are there yet. They have kind of overlapped and switched positions in game, and kind of tried to be fluid and stuff. But it has like Vinny on the right has never been a very good option in my memory. Like if he had a very good game, I'm pretty sure the management would be looking into it far more than what is the case now, where he never starts on the right. Like, what is your take on it, Doris? Like, do you think sometimes Rodrigo should be given the chance to start on the favored left side?
Uh, First, they're calling me biased, not that I'm only defending for the chat. And I, I, I think that Vinny is too good to be to not be on the left side, and we all know that. And it is a topic that has been mentioned multiple times
Mm,
in the media and everywhere.
mm,
But we know that he's too good to go on the right. But Rodrigo has shown every time that he's given a chance anywhere on the pitch that he's really good, and that you know that he is a superstar even now. But I feel that what's best for the team, and maybe not for Rodrigo, is that he plays on the right. And i as much as it sucks for the player, it's what matters for the team. It
mm.
matters to us. And it's for his career. Maybe he's not happy that he's playing on that side, but he's still doing really good there. So
Let
you
me ask
know,
you something. In an alternate timeline, and Hazard was still the Hazard from Chelsea and very integral to this team, like kind of a semi-starter, like higher up the pecking order, like more than Asensio and stuff. Like, do you think if Hazard's form was that good, Vinny would be forced to kind of learn his trade to play on the right wing?
that's hypothetical, because it depends when it happens, when Eden would hit his form, and it depends how good his form would be, because
Mm,
we owe a lot of the play style that we have now to Vinicius, and there's no denying that. Like, I don't think we would win a Champions League with Eden. No way. I don't think we would, especially not last year.
Oh,
And
okay, okay, Lever, but Hazard, like if there was another left winger who was as good and was firing,
oh,
like,
okay,
yeah,
another one.
mm,
Well, probably because at the time that
yeah,
last. season, if anyone came that was, decent, and Vinny didn't show like for a game or two that he could do it, I'm sure that the manager would make the other guy play there, and
Mm,
maybe it could alter his future if that would have happened. But it's all hypothetical, so we don't know what would happen to Vinicius. Maybe he wouldn't explode at that point. Maybe he wouldn't be what he is today because of that. I mean, he definitely wouldn't be. But
mm,
I think we owe a lot of what we achieved and the play style that we have to Vinicius. So I wouldn't want it any other way.
any other
For
way. Yeah.
no
Fair point.
Mbopis or anyone.
Mm. Fair point. Fair point. The faith we put in him is actually reaping its rewards at the moment. Like you said. Um, but yeah, moving on from Vinicius and Rodrigo. Fede Valverde, the man of the moment, right? He is one of the biggest reasons for us being 16 games unbeaten. When in games where we look like we lack idea, he has stepped up big time, and I mean big time. Um, there were signs in the past few years when he used to attempt these kind of shots, and more often than not, they used to be saved, or sometimes it used to go horribly wrong, but other times it used to like shave the crossbar, shave the post. But now I don't know what juju is being being at work, but everything seems to be flying in at the moment. He was also voted man of the match in the chat. Your take, Doris, like, did you expect this vein of form from Federico Valverde this season?
Like I said in July, I did, and you see who it is.
I don't think the people can see it.
It's Valverde on my back.
It is Valverde.
Uh,
Okay, fair, fair, fair. Don't
yeah.
break your neck. It's fine.
um, I expected it. Like even last season, he was like one of the only players I talked every preview and match reaction we did, because he was
Mm,
so important last season, and he even like this season he seems to be what Vinicius was last season. Everyone is talking about it, everyone wants him, and it's actually beautiful to see him like this, because he wasn't like this like from the start, like from youth, that he was like the best player everywhere he went. He he had to come up, and he's only like 23, 24, or something like that. And
mm.
for a player that young, it's incredible what we have. And the goal today was it was
I
beautiful.
told you. I told you this is calculated. I told you this
Mm,
is calculated. Like, I've seen some truly retarded people call Zidane's volley at Hampden Park in the Champions League final is a fluke. You know, but
mm,
if you actually go through the replays and watch Zidane's eye movement and basically his backlift, like what I was telling you before we came on live, it is all about the backlift. It is about you recognizing the uh, the angle the ball is coming at you, the speed it is coming at you, the amount of backlift that you need to put into a shot to keep it low or keep it floating, or like put a bend on it. That is what matters, in my opinion, at least. Like, I haven't
mm,
played football at a professional level, but I know my fair share of football to realize that Fede has immaculate eye to feet coordination. He clearly, thinks that shot through. It isn't instinct, and like it is a recurring pattern. Like, even if you see the Barcelona goal, the precision with which he is basically banging them in. It is not a coincidence, It is not just happenstance that he is getting all these Hollywood goals week in week out. And I read something. that said, all the goals he scored in La Liga this season has an average XG of 8%. Come on, man, that is fucking ridiculous. Like, even for a striker who is always in the box, anticipating chances every now and then, even for a striker, it'll be outrageous. But for him to be playing out wide, doing all the dirty work, defending and whatnot, this is huge. This is huge. Like, Doris, do you think at this rate, if he keeps this up, I know it is only October. There's a whole World Cup to come and go, and then there is the Champions League knockouts and stuff. But do you think up until now is he the best midfielder in the world?
Who else would you put up there?
Well,
Well,
there's your usual suspects: Bruno Fernandes,
okay,
KDB.
stop. Enough. Come on. Come on. Bruno Fernandes, come on. Just no.
Well, he scored a banger. He scored a banger even last night. Yeah, I mean, against Tottenham, like a couple of days ago.
And that makes him one of the best when he's playing shit every week.
Yeah,
He's one of the worst
he,
players on the United team right now.
he's captain. He had a very bad patch, but he's back to his very best.
United knows that being a captain means nothing for your quality of play. So I don't think that's
He was,
fair comparing it to
mm,
Fernandes. But yeah, as Ashik said, he is the third best midfielder after Luka and Cruz.
Luke and Cruz.
Yeah,
Yeah, the new poll is basically Fede Valverde top three in the world, number one, two, or three.
yeah.
Yeah, I hope people would put him at three, because Tony and Luca, like, at least at the moment, is clearly above. But for Tony Cruz, one of the people he used to idolize to come out and uh, tweet about him that he's top three in the world. I mean, I don't know if there is any greater plaudit you can basically get. And Tony Cruz is a guy who is as blunt as it gets. Germans, and I've dealt with a few, my fair share of Germans, and I know that they don't hold back. They don't say stuff to they don't say gloss they don't say stuff to gloss it over. They are very blunt to the point. So if Cruz says that, there is a genuine conversation in training, in like among the camp, that Fede has been something truly exceptional this season. And Carlo doesn't have to retire, like the comments were saying. Like, he was basically saying that like he needn't tear up his license anymore. And this conversation came up. Was it a month? If you can refresh my memory, Doris, because was this mentioned in Carlos presser in August? I don't think it was in August, right? It was last month, sometime in September, if I remember. And he was
Yeah.
on 2 goals maybe then. Now he's on 7. Like, he's basically scoring every other match day. He's the top scorer for us in La Liga. I mean,
Yeah.
there is nothing else you can kind of say to add gravity to what he's doing. But in my honest opinion, I never saw this coming. I never ever saw this coming. I knew this guy had a thunder punt in his right foot. I knew that. I knew that for a fact. But I never knew he could channel that energy, to be as effective as it has been. And
Mm.
it goes to show. 20 people voted for the poll for Fede. Like, it goes to show the amount of confidence that these guys have in them. Ashik is saying Fede, the heir apparent of Enzo Francis Coley. And Mel says, glad to see Fede getting the minutes he deserves this season. Absolutely. Like, up until last season, he was a guy who was kind of shoehorned into the right wing role, to provide us with some sort of balance in midfield, help out the veterans. But now, I think he's not only just helping them out, but he is basically stealing their limelight. I don't know how Modric and Tony feels at this moment of time when he is basically managing to outshine them week in week out. but it is a very, very, very good story that is developing. And all I request of the fans are, to just keep it grounded and kind of, keep it moving, so that we like we don't blow it out of proportion and behave like the cliche Liverpool fans, or the City fans, how they talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold as the second coming of Cafu. We shouldn't get into any of that. Fede is Fede himself, and he should be recognized as the modern, the new type of midfielder that can do so many different roles. Right, Doris? Like, do you think our fans would have that tendency to talk shit like how people in Britain do?
Ah, it's difficult to say. It's more so that England, hypes their players to oblivion, but
Hmm.
it also has a lot to do that the Prem has a lot of fans, mostly they pride themselves because it's their way in their football and all that. But I think that's like, okay, sure, but they don't accept the most people watch the Premier League because they speak English and the teams are English and everything is in English, and that means a lot to players, especially to Americans and stuff like that. So there's a lot of mixed opinions about them, and the way they think. We usually all like scratch it to the English fans, but most of the time we don't know if those are English fans. They just support English teams, mostly because they speak English and everything is in English, as I said. But for the media, because they're not fans, we all know what they did to Trent. As you said,
Mm,
he's the second coming of Messiah. Like he's one of the best players of all time, I guess, for them.
mm,
Which I think
mm,
is a really shit opinion. Because if if um, if you're gonna call someone, he's the best player, but his defense is shit when you're a fucking defender, and I'm sorry for swearing, but it makes no sense, and if we're gonna comment on the Valverde and critique him, I think we should critique him for the things that he should be doing and the things
yeah.
that he is doing, not for
Mm,
like Trent, that people are only analyzing the good things when there's a lot of bad things that are uh, there to be said about the player, because you cannot be called the best defender, right back, whatever, if you don't know how to defend. That's why I wouldn't, uh, you know, say that he's the best midfielder if he was unable to do things that midfielders do.
yeah, like basically, like the basic role of a fullback is to defend. All that comes like on the attacking side of the pitch is basically a bonus, in my opinion, at least. Like, no matter how much the game has changed, like you are basically in the lineup as a defender. You should be able to defend at least, like the like on the surface. You needn't be fucking Paolo Maldini, right? Like you can be an above average defender and get away with it. There's so many examples. I mean, like, ranging from like Danny Alves to even Danny Carvajal. Like, they aren't the best of defenders. Their reading of the game is so good that they needn't be like as good defenders to actually excel in that role. But yeah, man, Trent Alexander Arnold and all that shit. I don't care at this point anymore. But yeah, I think Ashik is the one who said that. I read a reporter saying that RM Press includes lessons for youngsters so that they don't give in to the hype. I truly believe that. I used to think that there should be a logical reasoning for our staff and players to be so level-headed, and this goes to show there is clearly a framework in place to ensure that all these noise, doesn't get to people's heads, which is a very good thing. Like, you seldom see our players, like throwing a tantrum, or like being like over the top. But also, that's Aliba was mentioning, love this modest, biased, agenda-driven woman. Spot on, Bruno Fernandes. So many people think he is good, but he's so shit. His passing is bad and loses the ball all the time. Yeah, he is a liability in possession.
The
He
comments are gold in this
Yeah,
chat. They're
yeah,
gold.
the comments.
And
I think
TA is not even at the level of Mingueza, which is such a good comment.
Mingueza, I can't see it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the
yellow.
last
I think.
comment. But as Yadu said, the TAA is a knockoff Carvajal and not even a good knockoff, which I agree.
Yeah, like putting them in the same sentence is a
Yeah.
disservice. I'll say that. Is a disservice. But who said the previous comment?
Uh, Ashik said that TAA is not even on the level of Mikesa, which is so funny because
Yeah, Mingueza is so shit. He's playing in Osasuna or something at the moment.
yeah, he he's one of those players that even if he plays for my team, I couldn't root for him. He's so unlikable to me, and there's no like big reason for him and
You mean
for it. And
Mingueza
he, yeah, and
or
he reminds
okay?
me a lot of Gudel, yeah, a lot.
Godel is better, bro. Trust me. Trust me.
Yeah,
Trust me. He's better. He's better. Trust me. He was really good tonight. I was impressed with Godel.
you
Trust
know when he played
me.
in Barca, I think that that has to be one of the worst defenses ever, having
Mm,
Minguez out there.
mm, mm.
But
And
when I think in the Clasico last year, the famous Clasico, he actually played pretty well. I think it was that one. I'm not sure, or maybe
the
the
one where Benzema scores the back heel kind of thing.
I think it's the 4-0 one. I think I think it was that game.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm not
Fair,
sure.
fair,
Yeah.
fair, fair, fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man. Like Trent Alexander-Arnold needs to, be humbled. And I love the fact that these people are getting humbled. Like you can clearly see where my hatred for Liverpool comes from, right? Like you see me fighting with Farouk always in the group, right? Like I have this desire to see them
I
collapse.
agree with you. I just don't want to fight with Farouk, but
This is not a
I
fighting
don't
group.
agree with you
Very healthy.
on the Pep thing. But I agree with you on the Liverpool thing, and I
You don't agree
um
with me on the Pep thing? What do you mean?
yeah, you are saying that he is not one of the best managers, that he only does well in big teams, and my argument that it's a different kind of job to be a good manager in big teams, because not many managers can do it, and not many managers can manage small teams,
Like yeah,
because
like
those
Pep.
two are like incredibly like incredibly different jobs, managing huge teams like Pep does, and managing
I get it.
smaller teams.
But there is an asterisk to his CV. Like not at Barcelona, but post Barcelona, he needs backing, right? That is a fact. Like you need backing to work. That is a fact.
I don't think it's
Obviously,
even fair comparing it to Barcelona, because it's Barcelona,
I'm
the
not comparing it to Barcelona. I'm strictly speaking post Barcelona. But
yeah, yeah.
anyway,
But I'm saying you cannot compare his career post Barcelona with Barcelona itself, because even after that, he managed Bayern and all that. But of course, like City and Bayern are like huge teams, of course, but they are like in the pool of all managers working and not working. There's not many managers that can do that, and that's been proven almost every day, every season, every year, by managers that cannot manage every team. He found three teams that he could manage really well. I think that's saying a lot
But
about
let me let me
management.
let me tell you something, Doris. Once everything is settled and we are like 60, 70 years old and Pep is like probably dead by then, people will question this very fact. You know what? He didn't work for a small team. You know, I'm just putting it
True,
out there.
that is an argument, but I think that still we have to compare it to things that he has done, and the history of a job like that, because
Mm,
there are managers that can get a team, to first place, a small team to first place, but they don't have either longevity, or they're not as creative next season because they did it this time, and like things don't work in a perfect world like this,
mm,
because he is made for a job like that. And
mm.
I think it's not even a good idea to put him in a smaller team, and I don't mean like a small team,
I
but
feel the same. Like, I don't know why people are agreeing with just you. This is clear fucking bias. Like, I feel uncomfortable at this point. But he's saying that Doris is right. There are managers made for big teams and managing smaller teams. Fair
no,
enough.
you are just wrong. That's what we're saying. You are wrong. And I don't think it's fair criticizing Pep for things that are not his fault. He is doing amazing at,
Oh my
at,
god.
at
Okay.
things that he is doing. And then you
See,
cannot
I have this.
criticize him
He
for
ruined
something
my
that he
childhood,
didn't do.
so I have this agenda against him. I always have it. Come
And
on, man.
that's
I don't
fair.
want to
But
see him succeed.
then say it like it is.
Well, I respect him for whatever he has achieved, but I'll always question him. Like, if you had the chance, would you manage a
I
team
hit
like
a nerve
Everton?
here. I hit a nerve.
You
Let's just leave it. If you
let's
if
move on.
you're
Let's move
gonna
on.
get
But
this.
yeah, this is gonna go on. But let's just read the comments out quickly. Tas says Pep is one of the best. Only one thing I have to say about Pep is he plays one formation all the time. Sometimes to win the UCL, you need to change during the game. Ancelotti, maybe that's why he fails. Well, this is a very good point. I don't know. I'm not very well versed in the system that Pep plays. But I have honestly felt like Klopp is someone who is very inflexible. Like, he can't seem to devise a plan when plan A or B doesn't work. Like, he has a plan A and a plan B, but he doesn't have a plan C or a D. Like, I think that is what is causing his downfall at Liverpool. Like, do you rate Klopp, Doris? I don't rate him personally. I don't.
I used to, and then
Mm,
as time went on, he's he's not really my, like, one of the favorites.
mm,
I feel like most of that, uh, has to do with his comments, like after game, and sort of like Xavi, how he doesn't deserve to lose, or the grass was too tall and stuff like that. I never respected that in managers, and I hate when people do that. And that just means that, as you said, you don't have a plan B or C or whatever. You need to be ready for everything, and there are two teams on the same pitch, so whatever is happening to you is happening to the opponent. So as you said, if you don't have a plan B, you
mm.
that's entirely on you. And yeah, I
It's
I
entirely.
agree with you that the club
Mm,
is kind of like that, but I,
mm.
I don't think it like goes to extremes that like he can only play one way and stuff like that.
I honestly think Liverpool's dependency, Klopp's dependency on their 4-3-3 is going to be their downfall because they are not going to find any midfielders in January. They don't have a midfield to begin with now. So they're just going to crumble, in my opinion. It is clearly this stubbornness to not evolve. Ashik was saying, Liverpool lost to Nottingham today. LOL. Ghost of Brian Clough killed them. Imagine if Nottingham actually played. LOL. Brian Clough, for people who don't know, is one of the most decorated managers in British football history. He actually led Nottingham Forest to multiple Champions Leagues. Imagine Nottingham Forest has more Champions Leagues than Atletico Madrid, but yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I watched part of the game. If Nottingham Forest actually played with a little more intensity, it should have been 4-5 nil easy. Allison was having a blinder today. That's the only reason why the score was kind of respectable. But yeah, it is what it is. Fuck Liverpool. Tas Aliba says Pep is one of the best. No, I read that actually. Ashik B says Pep is a micromanager, and as good as he is, he limits a log of players because he's more tactic based. Pep is not a man manager. Yeah, plenty of players have been very vocal about this guy being an actual maniac. Like famously Ibrahimovic. I remember. Like some people clearly hate Pep, but it is what it is. Like some people say, like geniuses are weird. They are not perfect people. Yadu says there is a reason Pep has a lot of players always on the bench, no matter what potential. I completely agree. But yeah, we kind of derailed off topic, but we need to kind of wrap this up in 10 minutes. Doris is kind of losing it. I can clearly see it.
Um,
But yeah, Fede completely deserves all the plaudits he is getting. But Doris, walk me through Carlos' game management. How always his substitutions change the course of a game. Today,
mm,
Camavinga, exceptional. Asensio, exceptional again. Lucas Vasquez, Carvajal was having a tough time. He brings him on. He scores a goal.
yeah,
It,
even last season we were begging for subs, like please put someone on, please let
mm,
someone rest, and he's finally, subbing players on by himself.
mm,
Um, Usually not early in the game, like in the middle of second half, which
mm.
is
Yeah,
normal, but every time we hit around like 60th minute, I get excited because I know that, like, okay, the game is about to start. And even last year, uh countless times our substitutes were the difference. Last season that was really obvious, and Asensio and Rodrigo were mostly the ones, scoring from the bench and such. And I remember even Kamavinga on his debut, he scored. He assisted from the bench. No, scored from the bench. Yeah.
assisted right for
No,
Rodrigo's goal. Or
I think he scored a goal because Modric was about to score. He missed, and then Kamavinga tapped it in.
oh yeah, that was in La Liga. I'm talking about Champions League. My bad, my bad.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, and that, and also the player thinking where he kind of like
Against Inter,
to,
Inter,
yeah,
87th minute, Rodrigo.
yeah, same same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he clearly
Agree.
clearly manages to have a feeling for when to introduce changes, right? It clearly manages to save his skin. Like imagine if the result was different, we would all be sitting here and kind of blaming Carlo for sometimes his lackluster decision throughout the week, but apparently his subs seems to work. But I can't for my life understand why people don't give him enough credit. He's not a tactical genius like Pep, but he knows how to influence the game at the right moment. um but I need to talk about the second goal, the go ahead goal. You know Three passes. It took was from defense to being Vinny through on goal. All it took was three passes, and it involved the crazy, the insane B team of the 2016-17 double winning side.
Mm.
Vasquez and Asensio kind of being integral in the goal. It was so nice to see. Um, I used to think even back in 2017, Vasquez, yeah, although he's a very good squad player, I always thought that, man, like, how long would you realistically think he'll last? Maybe a year, maybe a couple of years, but we are still sitting in 2022 reacting to a Vasquez go ahead goal. Doris, thoughts?
Exactly, exactly. And uh, even last season, I always said that he's the goat. You say that Nacho is the goat. I say the Lucas is the goat, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that he's important in this team, and maybe if we had a better player to replace Carvajal, maybe we wouldn't even be talking about Lucas because he wouldn't get a chance in this team. But
Mm.
to be real, it's because of Carvajal because he doesn't have a substitute, a like for like substitute that Lucas even gets the chance to play. But yeah, it feels nice see both Asensio and Lucas be involved in something, and every time Lucas scores, Peter Parker is happy, and I'm happy. I'm happy for
I
him.
didn't get the Peter Parker reference though. I'm completely
Oh,
blinded
really?
by it.
People just call him Peter Parker because he looks like Spider Man.
Who? Vasquez.
Yes.
Okay, okay, okay. Fair,
And
fair, fair.
and when he
Well,
scores, he does this like he's like
oh, the celebration. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay. Fair, fair. I was thinking you were referring to something that Asensio did. I was like, what does
No, no,
Asensio
no.
resemble? Fine. Fair enough, fair enough. But this is the funny thing, yeah. People wanted Asensio out. Everybody has lost that kind of love for Asensio. Even I have to admit it. But clearly, like he is having impact whenever he comes on. Like he had a pre-assist today, and another assist for the Fede goal. He's clearly making a case to be integral to this team, right? Throughout the second
Mm.
half of the season.
I don't know. I never said I wanted him out. And I always supported him. I still do, and I I want him to stay. As we said, it's only gonna reflect his career what he does because we as a team we need him, but maybe he
Mm,
doesn't need us, because he could do well somewhere else, but there's no guarantee.
yeah,
And he's the type of player that he's gonna show when he's not satisfied with
yeah.
himself or his game
He
or
can't fake
whatever.
his emotions. No.
Yeah, he doesn't fake his emotions, so he doesn't look happy at the moment, and we
Mm,
should take that into consideration that the player is not happy. It's not
yeah.
all about us,
Mm,
but he also needs to know that it's not all about him, and if he wants to take this spot in the team, that's what he has to take, because again, like he's not bigger than anyone or even better than anyone to even uh, ask for something like that, for a starting spot or a consistent spot or whatever. So as much as I'm gonna support him, and I want him to do well, realistically he's not better than Valverde, Rodrigo, or Vinicius. He's only better than Hazard, and I'm always pissed when Eden is playing and Asensio isn't.
fair analysis, to be honest. Asensio, like if I was Asensio, this might seem insane, right? If I was Asensio, I would recognize that I'm not Gareth Bale, right? I'm not Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not Eden Hazard at his prime. I'm Asensio, who is an above average player, not quite world class, not quite average, not quite shit, somewhere in between. I would be much more self aware and kind of take this opportunity and show it to the management and to Carlo that like he can be a game changer even when he comes on, and kind of maybe bargain for a new contract even if the fans and the supporters are kind of against that idea. But like I'm just speaking from a purely personal perspective. Probably that's how he should be thinking, instead of being this egoistic persona that he is being at the moment, that he thinks he should be getting more minutes, or being considered more integral to this team. If he sticks around, banks a few goals, like changes the course of a few games, like he'll be considered like integral to a title winning squad,
Mm.
like he wouldn't be just collecting medals like Mariano. When he collects a medal, we would actually applaud him that he actually took in, us winning shit. But it is what it is. I just hope things get better, and at least if he leaves on a high, and we win silverware.
There
Then that
were
is the only.
rumors of him going to Liverpool, and I was like, wow, that's a
When was it? I haven't read it.
last like this summer. There were rumors, like we
Mm,
all knew that Isco was leaving, the Bale was leaving, and all that, but there were
yeah.
rumors that Asensio was leaving too, and most of them were about Liverpool. And I was actually excited for him if that was true, because there was no way he would get minutes here, as I said, because he's not better than the players that we do have. And if he goes to Liverpool and starts there, that just means that they don't have better players than we do.
Mm.
And
Trust me. The year is 2024. Asensio joins Liverpool, and Liverpool is playing City. James Milner is going to bench Asensio. Mark my words. This is going to happen. This has happened to better players than Asensio, so Milner is going to still be benching people like him. But Ashik
yeah,
B says, don't worry if Asensio plays like this, then Manchester United will come with another 80 million euro. Again, gotta love United to keep us in the green. Absolutely, United, they they are not shy at spending. It helps
yeah.
us out. It
I'm
helps them
I'm
out.
sure he will be sold the minute someone put a decent offer for for him. I'm just guessing that this summer there weren't like that great of offers for him, and last season he didn't really make comments like this. He did sometimes, and if you remember when he scored at some game, I don't remember which one, he did like this, and to people like you're all talking about me when he scored. So the behavior started last season, but it stopped, and I was like, okay, he finally, accepted it. We won a double with, the team did bitch. And this season I feel like he started to do what Ronaldo is doing, and talking and being, like this, because the team doesn't want to sell him because there are no offers for him, so he's trying to force a move in the worst possible way of saying that there is a possibility of him going to Barcelona or whatever, which is like the dumbest comment someone can make in the world.
Like he threw the water bottle and stuff. Obviously,
That
not a
that
good.
was so unnecessary. Like it
It's
doesn't. I
unnecessary,
don't
but
care.
you
Like I
can.
don't care. Like you do you,
But
but it's so
Doris, like, but people can maybe empathize with the fact that he might be feeling frustrated. But this whole Barca thing took this
you
to
don't
another
mention
level.
that name. You don't
Yeah,
mention Barca. You
yeah,
can mention any other team. I don't
mm,
care, but you don't like any La Liga team. Basically, like don't
yeah.
mention La Liga. I mean, it's okay. Like Isco plays in Sevilla, and I don't think anyone would say a word if he went to Sevilla or to Mallorca or something like that. But if you're gonna talk about Atleti or Barca, you know what you're doing, and he's not dumb. It's not his first year in Madrid, and I think that was unacceptable from him. And if he hadn't done that, maybe people would feel different towards him. And it is just the start of the season, and people had hope for him. Okay, maybe this season, as we always do, like every season we have hope. That's because we're fans. We do this. And for Asensio, we all had hope, and then he doesn't, he goes
Deliver.
and says that, and
Mm,
then what's the point? What's the point of
mm,
me hoping for you to do well if you're not even hoping to do it in this team?
mm.
You know,
Yeah, it's very selfish. I mean, like from purely from a player's perspective, like there's a World Cup coming up, and he probably wanted to get in the good books of Enrique. When he has someone mentioned Barcelona, he does some crazy stuff. I'm not going to mention it here. Yeah, I wanted to use some very strong words, but you know how Enrique is with Barcelona. Probably it's a PR move. I don't know, but it is not a good look. But Mel says, I feel like he's had chances to come on and change games, and I really wanted him to, but he hasn't necessarily. Yeah. Like sometimes he has looked way off the pace, other times he looks, on it. It is a curious case. Also, a quick few comments that I missed out on. Taz Aliba said, I read an article that um, Davide, Ancelotti's son, has a lot of saying when subs come on. His opinion is really important. I have addressed this in previous episodes, saying that Ancelotti's son is, I think, the real guy who orchestrates game plans, and I think he's the one who conducts training sessions and stuff. So Davide is a huge part of why Carlo is being successful at the moment. Um, Ashik B says, thus Aliba, he actually does what makes Carlo a great manager and a leader is that he listens to others. Davide actually does a lot of tactical work for Carlo. Yes, facts. Mel also says, how cute was Carlo's reaction? I think he is referring to the reaction to Fede's goal. Yeah, Carlo, I think, is reveling in the moment. He used to be so rigid, stiff, and laid back. He never used to have any kind of emotion. And it's so refreshing to see that even our team is making someone like him, be a bit more emotive. It's very nice. It's very nice.
I think it's mostly his son. His son is very animated, and he celebrates every goal like he's one of the players on the pitch, and I love that about him. And I hope someday in the future, if he really manages seriously, I hope that he comes back. If he does well, he like Davide has turned into a real character for Madrid, and as you said, he is the. I also believe that he's the one orchestrating most things in this team, and
Mm.
you can see by his reactions. And every time a substitute is coming on, he's there with a notebook. Do this, do that, do that. Ancelotti just says, "Go, my boy." Goes to the field, and and it's David, like go there, run, blah, blah. And Ancelotti is just doing the I'm gonna yeah when you come back and stuff like that. He doesn't really say much to the players.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with it. And like this whole family affair is going better for us, compared to Xavi and his brother on the Barca side at least. So I'm just happy and touch wood. It keeps continuing. But I guess we should bring this episode to a wrap. We don't do 2 hour sessions like this. This was not on the cards initially. Doris was actually asking me how long this is going to be, and I lied to her. Apparently, it seems like at this moment in time, I told her it will be like 40 minutes, but we are at like I think 2 hour 20 minutes at this point. But we did this for you guys. If you guys didn't know, because we don't do this regularly, it was because of your interaction and you guys who kept the conversation flowing so flawlessly is the reason why we kind of went ahead and decided to stay an extra hour to kind of talk stuff through. It was a very good day. It didn't seem like it until the 70th 75th minute, but the boys turned it around. Another second half FC. Doris, we were kind of saying, and then I was telling you no, necessarily not, maybe it might be a single half FC, but I guess your point is proven right? Second half FC again.
Yeah. What matters is that we do it, and it's nice to see that the way they finish the games, that now they start a bit better.
Mm.
Almost every game this season we've started really well, and
Mm.
thank you everyone for joining us today.
It's an absolute pleasure. But before we go, check out Real Madrid Committee. They are our partners on Instagram. Link is in the description. Um, like if you're tuning in live, or if you're watching later, or if you're listening to us on audio platforms, please subscribe to us, like the video. Um, Help us push the algorithm, and like it encourages us to keep this going. We are all full-time professionals. Some people are juggling both college and work at the same time, so this takes a lot out of us during the week. So yeah, like your support is what actually keeps it going. Love for the love people. Up until the next game, which is I think against Leipzig. We'll see you on the post match hopefully. Up until then, Hala Madrid.
Hala Madrid. Don't know where Iyado is.